liquid sensuality and chocolate seduction. Wine and chocolate. Mwah. They belong together, especially on Valentine's Day. And tonight on the Sunday Sipper Club, we're going to get you ready for not the big game day. It's not a game. It's not the Super Bowl, but it is sort of the Super Bowl of love, right? Valentine's Day. Anyway, we're going to explore lots of great combinations tonight, right here on our live tasting. I'm Natalie MacLean, editor of Canada's largest wine review site, where I review hundreds of wines every week to find great bottles for you. And you can get my free picks by clicking on the blue sign up button. And then you'll get them every week if you like. And while you're there, keep clicking, why not? You can click on the like button right below this video and the share button. Look, it's a Valentine's Day share button. I'd appreciate it if you click on that, because then you let your friends know that we're here, right now, and they can join us. So speaking of who's with us tonight, let me refresh the browser and see if I am alone talking to myself in the universe. That would be the Lonely Hearts Club, wouldn't it? All right. Oh my, we're getting lots of folks. Welcome, Tara, Sharon, and James. So everybody's piling in. Everyone wants to get their game on for Valentine's Day, quite obviously. Paul, thank you so much for the like, and I hope you and Patty are doing well. I'm wondering if I'm iPad head at your dinner table again tonight. We have a special guest with us tonight, and he'll be logging in as soon as he's ready. He's the winemaker, one of the winemakers for Fonseca. His name is David, and I'm going to let him give us the pronunciation guide to his last name so I don't massacre it. But we'll wait till he's online with us now. Hello, Heather and Celine. Celine is from our chocolate maker tonight. So this is a Canadian company, Chocolaterie Bernard Callebaut. It has locations across Canada, including right here in Ottawa, where I was talking to Celine in the Westboro store about these gorgeous chocolates. They're amazing. And it's not just your ordinary milk and dark chocolate. They have got so many flavor combinations that we are going to explore all those tonight. And I'm trying not to salivate too much just thinking about it. So Celine, I'm going to rely on you to comment as we go along as to which chocolate I'm tasting, because there are so many here that we lined up for tonight. I'm so excited. I just don't want to mix them all up. All right, so here we go. Let me just refresh again. Hello, Anne. Hi. Happy Valentine's Day. You're having a glass of Dr. Lucen. All right, German Riesling. Should you try some chocolate with it? Good question. And thanks for kicking off the questions. I would suggest you try maybe a white chocolate. That may be a paradox. Some purists don't consider white chocolate because I think, now Celine's going to join in, I hope, and correct me where I make big mistakes, as I will. I'm not a chocolate expert, but there's only 20% cacao powder versus in bitter chocolate or dark chocolate there would be like 70 to 90%. So it's also the sweetest of chocolates, so no, not that Riesling, even though it's an off dry. I might try one of, I don't know if I can keep saying this mouthful. I will say it occasionally. Chocolaterie Bernard Callebaut. They produce an oregano fusion and a rosemary fusion. And this has got milk chocolate, but it's infused with rosemary, thyme, and sprinkled with habanero sea salt. So it's got this salty, almost hot but pleasantly so, mouth texture and taste that really tames the perception of the sweetness. That's what I would go with more of a dry wine or a white wine. But we'll come back to that. Celine, white chocolate. White chocolate is cocoa butter, milk, and sugar. Good. Thank you, Celine. Keep me on point here. Sharon, hello, Sharon from Ottawa. You're drinking a Riesling Pinot Grigio from Inniskillen paired with lobster dinner. Totally off trend, but good, Sharon. I'm glad you're here. Sharon, let us know what kind of chocolate and wine combinations you've tried in the past and loved. Sam from BC, greetings from the West Coast, Sam. I'll bet you're getting ready for the Vancouver Playhouse Wine Festival, which I believe starts Monday. Bet you there'll be lots of wine and chocolate pairings going on there. And Miss Lees from Sudbury joins us. Hello, Miss Lees. All right, so let me dive into a little bit of the background here as we wait for more people to join us. And if you just have joined us, by the way, We are talking about wine and chocolate pairings for Valentine's Day on the Sunday Sipper Club. We're live here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so that's like New York or Toronto time. And Lise has noticed my tattoo. It's actually a sticker because I wear my heart on my sleeve, or in this case, my shoulder. Yeah, I'm wild. I'm really wild, Lise. It's temporary. Jane has joined us from Ottawa. She's having a glass of Atalan Tinto Hysterico. A Malbec Petit Verdot blend. Just happened to have some chocolate. How organized of you, Jane. And Enologize, aka Malcolm, is here from St. Catharines, Ontario, who works in oh, you've left the LCBO, Malcolm, and now you're teaching your wine courses. I hope that is going well for you. Let us know. So, to get back to topic, from which I am easily distracted all the time. Hey, Craig Marnie is here from Napa. Craig, welcome. You're new to this discussion, I think. Thank you for saying hi. And if you're just joining us, just say hi. You don't need to be an expert here. We're just sitting at the kitchen table here, drinking, well, tasting, drinking, and sharing what we love, chocolate and wine. And if you will, please click like and the share button. I have an admission to make. I'm a human gerbil. So when you click share, it's like giving me a food pellet, and it encourages me to do more of these Sunday Sipper Clubs. That's so pathetic. Anyway, but I do appreciate when you click share. Hey, Rochelle. Hi. How are you? You're sipping on a glass of Malbec from Piatelli Vineyards. Excellent. Okay. And Lise says she's really enjoying Malcolm's course. I'm glad to hear that, Lise and Malcolm. So as I said, we've got a variety of ports, but some other wines here tonight too. Well, just actually I'm focusing mostly on ports from different producers. Our feature port and our winemaker who will be joining us is from Fonseca. We have got some other cream liqueurs, Bailey's, I'm sure you've heard of that. And a few other things mixed in here for you tonight, but we're going to find some killer combinations. Now, this white port is an interesting thing to try. On the back label, it says we should chill it. And the advice for a lot of ports is that we should be chilling them. Personally, I love port at room temperature, and maybe that's just a no-no, but I'm all out for personal pleasure, so I'm going to do what I want to do anyway, which my mother has often told me. Mom. But anyway, so what I did is I tasted this earlier this evening while it was still room temperature, and then I put it in the fridge and tasted it. And what happens when this white port, let me just pour it. I always forget to actually taste on this. So white port, so it's fairly light, although it's got a nice golden hue there. It tastes very refreshing, and I can imagine this almost instead of a gin and tonic with a twist of lime, maybe some toasted nuts. And when it comes to the chocolates, Celine, jump in. I'm thinking something like, let's see here. Her chocolate company does special Valentine's Day chocolates. So this one, I believe, Celine, do you recognize this one? Paul says, about to set the plates. The wine is Z. Alexander Brown Uncaged Pinot Noir from the Russian Valley. Excellent. Oh, that was so good. So, it's got a raspberry filling. Heart, raspberry. We're right on theme here. I don't know if it'll be too sweet for the white port or not. I don't think so. Because what happens with chocolate, and again, what I'm hoping others will join me in this discussion, but chocolate or cocoa butter melts at body temperature. It was made for human beings, okay? So that's why when you put a piece of chocolate over your tongue, it just coats it. It spreads and liquefies with your own body heat. How's that for seduction? And Celine says, this is the white Marionberry heart. Marionberry. Is it kind of similar in taste, Celine, to like a strawberry or a little bit on the cherry fraise, strawberry side? It's lovely. It's just lovely. Okay, when you have a second, Lee says, share your favorite chocolate places in Ottawa, the boutique stuff. So, Lee's, I know you're in Sudbury, but the wine, or sorry, the chocolates we're tasting are from, let's see if I can get more of a branded thingy here so you can see. Anyway, I'll just turn it around right there. what I've done, and I think I copied and pasted before we began. I'm just going to do this right now. I've just posted a link at the top here where I've posted many of the chocolates we're going to be tasting tonight and the wines. I'm trying to get ahead of the game tonight. And this is Chocolaterie Bernard Calibot. So it has a store in Westboro right now and in the Glebe. The Glebe is closing in a few weeks. They're consolidating. But it also has locations across Canada, Calgary, Lethbridge, a whole bunch of places that Celine can probably tell you. And where I've listed all of these on the blog post, I've linked to their website, so they'll give you all of the locations, Lise. I'm not sure if there is one in Sudbury. Okay, and Celine is saying a raspberry and blackberry blend. Okay, Jane, chocolate over my tongue, excellent advice. Yes, we do love our hedonism, don't we? So anyway, back to the, that was the Marionberry with the white port. Now with the white port, this is just a beautiful port. I have to spit tonight, even though these are amazing wines. The thing about port, as you probably know, is it's a fortified wine. So the alcohol is higher, as is the sugar content. They are dessert wines for the most part, although a lot of people like to have a chilled white port before dinner with the nuts or the hard cheeses or various things. And most ports, if not all, clock in at about 20% alcohol, whereas a table wine would be anywhere from 12 to 14%. So what happens when you raise the number or the percentage of alcohol? Alcohol itself gives the perception of both richness and sweetness, which is why it is such a gorgeous match for chocolate. And the richness, the mouth-coating texture of chocolate, which, you know, goes into every crevice, I swear, and sensual taste bud. So you need something like this to sort of match it. If you take like a dry, light white wine or even a dry, light red wine, they're just going to get clobbered. And the rule for pairing wine with dessert is that the wine should always be sweeter than the dessert. I'm sure there's some exceptions we can come up with, but generally that's true. Otherwise, the wine will taste bitter by comparison or wimpy. So David says, white port, great idea. It's always a crowd pleaser and usually sweeter than you think. So white chocolate sounds like a winner. I think it sounds like a winner too, Dave. Jane, for chocolate in Ottawa, Stube is another provider, absolutely. Celine, have you tried with the raspberry fusion? Celine, lead me on, my dear. Let's see. I think. I was trying to remember all these. I think this is the raspberry fusion. Let's give that a shot. We need to be thorough tonight, right? All right, and if you're just joining us, please just say where you're logging in from. If you've ever had a wine and chocolate combination that you love, share it. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. That's why I'm usually not trying not to eat and drink at the same time on camera. My tasting notes. Oh, you can still see me. Can you just post down below? I'm not sure if it's just me or if we're still going live. I will just check this out here. Apologies for that, if that's the case. Let's see. Can anybody still see me? Looks like we're still live. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to eat this heart while I wait for somebody to comment. Otherwise, we will start. Oh, I see myself waving. I'm on a time lag. Very weird watching yourself. Anyway. Okay. Oh my God. What's beautiful about these raspberry hearts is that Ronald. Okay, gone now back. Oh God. Okay, I hope this doesn't continue. Dark chocolate with a Now Fonseca also has their Bin 27 Reserve Port. So this style is going to be darker with darker fruit. Let's just give it a try. And I think this is going to have a wider range of different chocolates. What you say, or I'll just pick one anyway if I don't hear. Okay. You know what, folks? I'm getting so choppy, I think I'm going to try to restart this. So thank you for your patience. let's go to part 2, okay? You're going to have to refresh your browser when I come back because otherwise you won't see me go live. But I'm sorry about this. I'm going to check a few things on my internet connection and we'll be back with you very soon. All right, folks, we're back. We've had some internet issues, so I'm going to give something like this. But let me refresh the page and see if we are back live before I continue talking to myself. I'm Natalie MacLean, editor of Canada's largest wine review site at nataliemaclean.com, where I review hundreds of wines every week to find great bottles for you. And you can get me, you can get me my free wine picks if you like. Oh, good. Ronald, yes, you are. You're back. Okay, that's great. So you can get my free wine picks if you click on the blue button, the technology, what can you do, right? So we're just going to keep going. Anyway, so let's see now. You can watch the previous video just below this one. It will be on replay, as will this one eventually. And you can catch some of the tips that we started with there. But the follow. And Paul says I'm back, so I hope largely I might be sputtering a bit. That's not me, it's the video, it's the connection. I haven't been into the port too long. But just let me know if you've rejoined me here. All right, so let's continue. With this reserve port from Fonseca, as I said, it's going to be a bit more versatile, I think, with different types of chocolates than the white port. This white port will go nicely where I posted all of the chocolates we're tasting tonight, all of the wines. So, hey Lou, how are you? And where are you logging in from? And more importantly, what's in your glass? Let us know, and if you've had a chocolate and wine combination that you've enjoyed in the past. All right, so one of the ones I wanted to try from our specialty chocolate maker here tonight. Here we go. Let's try that. Oh, I love that. If you think about chocolate and all the different combinations that can go with different types of desserts, like if you were to make a cake with a chocolate cake with an orange swirl, or with a raspberry swirl, or a raspberry drizzle, think of those kinds of combinations and what kind of wine you put with it. This is the Reserve from Fonseca. That's beautiful. Wow, it just picks up the bitter orange. You are quick on the mark, my dear Miss Sudbury. She paired the Jekyll Pinot Noir with Lindt Black Currant Dark Chocolate, and the wine really came alive. Now that is a good point, Sharon, because dark chocolate, I believe, and if Celine is back from the chocolate company, she can tell me, but dark chocolate has the most amount of cocoa, or cacao. It's the bitterest. So it's also the easiest to pair with wine, because the more milk solids you have, the more sugar you have, the harder it is to go with wine. He is lines 2000 that do. I'm glad I'm back. We're gonna plug it out. It's like we're blinding our way through the. This one is the Apothic Inferno. Again, you might look for others that are of that style. All right, so now let's try something else. This one, you're my kind of peeps. Oh, yeah, a lot of ums and ahs and oohs. I guess that's appropriate for Valentine's Day. Anyway, now let's see how that goes with that port. That's nice too. One trick or approach is try the wine first whenever you're doing food and wine pairing. I like to try the wine first, then try the food, the chocolate, like take a taste of the chocolate, then try the wine again while the food or chocolate is. That is nice. So the lift of the ruby port is bright and lively with the strawberry chocolate, and yay, Fonseca port is here. So David, winemaker from Fonseca. All right, David, I'm going to need a pronunciation guide for your last name so I don't massacre it. I'm not even going to try, but I do want to call you out by your full name, David. So I'm so glad you can join us. He's joining us all the way from Portugal. So if you have questions about port, and especially Fonseca, he is one of the lead winemakers, if not the lead. And we're going to come back to the Fonseca ports for some of this because we are very privileged to have him joining us. So, David, do you have a favorite chocolate and port pairing? Something unusual or something you've tried before? We'd love to know kind of which of your ports you've tried with various types of chocolates. Ronald says, fresh fruits like strawberry, pineapple, and chocolate fondue, and a sparkling wine. Yes, I think that that sparkling wine is good if it's a bit off dry. I like a Moscato or a Frizzante or something with a bit of sweetness in my sparkling wine, or an ice wine sparkling wine. I find sometimes, this is just personal, Ronald, that a dry sparkling wine and chocolate can sometimes clash, although the classic pairing of champagne and, well, it's strawberries in whipped cream at Wimbledon. So you've got some sweetness going there. So they must be onto something, those Brits. So Fonseca says, Dave's last name, he is I think it's 6th or 7th generation winemaker of the owners of this port house, Fonseca. So it, makers of wines, rhymes. It rhymes with wines? Okay. Oh my goodness. Guimarães. I need a pronunciation guide. I'm so sorry. But there's his last name, right down there, if you can look. David says, receiving loud and clear again here in England. You must try a sea salt milk chocolate. Green and blacks paired with tawny port. Funny you should mention that. We have sea salt caramels. These are my personal favorite. Fonseca's saying perfect. David's saying perfect. Okay. You're so kind. Sea salt caramels. This is what I get when I want a personal treat. A sea salt caramel, David. And so they do come in dark and milk chocolate. I am a kid in a candy store tonight. But basically you get a little bit of sea salt. And what happens with the sea salt, but I hope Celine gets back with us here tonight, is that it softens the perception of the sweetness of the chocolate, but it makes your mouth water more. Then you've got the luscious chocolate coating going into every crevice and sensual taste bud. I just love that. It's almost like for hedonists who want to, I want this, then I want that. No, I want this, then I want that. I want it all. I want the salt, I want the chocolate, I want it all. So I'm going to taste this. But here's the thing. With anything that has toffee, caramel, praline, I think. Praline is basically a mixture of ground hazelnuts, sugar, and vanilla. I would go for a tawny port. So I've got one from Wars. This is, I always want to say Optima, as in optimal, but I think it's either Optima or Optima. Not sure which. But very modern bottle too. But I'm going to try this. And y'all jump in with more combinations. Let me do some eating and drinking here. Okay, so I'm going to try the chocolate. No, I said try the wine first. Try that as an experiment. So try the wine first. Okay, here we go. And let's see. Okay, tawny port is liquid toffee and caramel to me. I love that. And then this is starting to melt my fingers. Okay. Guess I should lick my fingers out of camera, right? Oh, that is so good. Now back to the port. Okay. Celine says, there's nothing I can add to your description of the sea salt caramels. Excellent. I think I'm joining the Chocolate Hedonist Club. All right, you'll have to excuse me licking my fingers. This stuff is melting and it's so gorgeous. It's going everywhere. That's what you want, right? Full-on slathering and melting. Fonseca, I agree. This pairing with tawny ports, a 10 or 12-year-old tawny is the one to go for. The nuttiness of these ports combined with the toffee taste. Lovely. And Jane is humming with her Calum tawny port. Now, I'm assuming Fonseca makes a tawny port. I bought the two that I could buy here in Ontario. So the white port and the Reserve Bin 27. But I'm sure you make a range of ports, including tawny. I'm not sure if you make ruby. I'm sure you make vintage port, which we haven't got to yet. But let us know. What styles do you make? 10, 20, and 30? And what would be the difference? I'm just assuming when you start with a 10-year versus a 20, 30-year, it increases in complexity, aging, I don't know, mellowness, richness, darkness. And tawny port, we should just say for those who are new to port, like Lee's, I wonder if you can see the difference. Well, I don't have the other one poured, but this is a lovely amber tawny color, Lee's. And if you love caramel, you should start with the tawny port because it's a beautiful, beautiful port. It's not vintage dated, meaning there's no year on the label. It will just say 10 or 20 years or 30 years. It's a blend of multiple vintages, usually multiple vineyards, except, there's always an exception, right? It's like the English language. A Cojita port, and that is vintage dated. Now this does have a tawny character because it also is aged in wood for I think 7 to 10 years. So it comes off with a tawny character, but Cojita means it comes from a single vineyard. And yes, it does have a vintage date. Just when you thought you could keep the rules straight, but that's the joy of it, the complexity, the endless discovery of this. So nothing to fear, especially when you are surrounded like I am in sugar and alcohol and chocolate. Okay, so Fabio, hello Fabio. Would you recommend port with a 70% cocoa mousse au chocolat? What do you think? Yes, indeed. I think port can handle just about all types of chocolate. I think we run into trouble when we start getting lighter or drier wines and putting them with chocolate. So you're safe. You are safe with port. Okay, you can also experiment with other dessert wines such as Sauterne or Tokai or Banyuls or Reciato or ice wine even. But port really has it all. It has the higher alcohol, it has the sweetness, it has the richness, it has the complexity and the depth. Not that those other ones don't, but it really comes together with port. And we don't drink enough port. All right. So Lee says, my husband loves salty caramels. I might surprise him, but I need my chocolate strawberries. Everyone can be happy in marriage and in chocolate and wine. So get both, my dear, and try. Have a little chocolate and wine tasting. I encourage you all to do that for a Valentine's Day treat. Sit down and get yourself a little box of chocolates like I have. Sorry, some of them are eaten. Or they have, as I said, they have this, and they have other little sampling packs. They have this heart, which is full of chocolates. This one's kind of neat. But get yourself, you can create your own sampling pack, or something like this, and pull open a few corks of different ports and that sort of thing. George is here from Fonseca. 10 and 20-year-old tawnies are available in Canada. Excellent. Available through LCBO Vintages every so often. So we have a national and international audience here, George, so it's good to know that they are available and they are coming, and we'll keep our eyes out for them. And of course, I review everything that comes through Vintages. So, Enologize Malcolm says he's talking to Fabio. Love when you guys have your own side conversations and figure things out. He's found a full-body quality Napa Cabernet goes great with high cocoa dessert like your mousse. Yes, the wine is dry, but the bitter finish of the wine matches beautifully with the high bitter cocoa mousse. Very good, Malcolm. You know your stuff, as always. Fonseca. Yes, at Fonseca we make a range of tawny ports. It starts with a bottle of tawny you just showed and continues with 10, 20, and a 40-year-old. I don't think I've tasted a 40-year-old tawny port. That would be interesting. I know I'm still choppy Jane. Not much I can do. When I paused, I told my son to get off the internet. He was not happy. But I think this is just the weather and the connection, everything else. As I said, I've never had this issue, so we shall persevere. Okay, so that's the tawny. I think the tawny, what else would the tawny go with, Celine? Let me just, I think anything with the hazelnut. Again, praline. I'm learning so much about chocolate now. Praline, as I said, is ground hazelnuts and vanilla and sugar. Ganache. What is ganache? Who knows what ganache is? I had it on the tip of my tongue, so to speak. I was tasting one. And now I've forgotten what that combination is. So please do tell if you know. Okay. Nice. Hazelnut. All right. Down with the tonic. Oh, so nice. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to, please do ask, we have George here, George, and David from Fonseca Winery. Very special guests tonight. So please do ask them questions about their wines and or port in general. If you want to learn tonight, we've got two real experts here, along with other wines. Oh, good. You got a picture of the crusted port. Excellent. Interesting. There's just so many styles here. Hey, all right. Jane says buttercream heaven. Yes. All right. So let's go on to, now there are a number of port houses that are part of well, there's first families of port, but there's also several port houses I believe are co-owned, and I'm not sure. There's Fonseca, and I think Taylor Fladgate. I believe you're of the same family, but I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm incorrect, George and David. But I'm going to taste this First Estate Reserve Port. If you can tell us anything about this, if this is your wine, that would be great. So let's give this a try. And how might it be different from this Reserve Port, the Bin 27? And most importantly, which chocolate should we pair with it? Celine's back. Good. Ganache is chocolate blended with a liquid, often cream. Oh my lord. Can you imagine? Okay. What a job you have, Celine. Okay, here we go. Yes, Fonseca says we are a family-owned company. So you have Taylor Fladgate, Fonseca. Is there anything else in that sort of family of ports that go together? Cynthia here. Hi, David. So happy to have you share your notes with us. Excellent. And so happy to have you join us, Cynthia. Do tell us if you've had a favorite port and chocolate combination. Love getting new ideas. George says, Nat, on the West Coast, Vancouver, we have Cynthia. Yes. Fonseca's brand manager for Canada. Excellent. All right. We have so many experts online tonight, guys. We have Celine from Chocolaterie Bernard Calibot. We have 3 people from Fonseca, and we have some really knowledgeable people. So that's not to intimidate anybody at all. Throw your questions out. As you know, this is a really, really casual kitchen table combination. And may I just say, if you're just jumping in wondering what are all these people talking about, this is the Sunday Sipper Club. We meet here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That's sort of New York time. So put us in your calendar and join us every week. We talk about all kinds of fun topics. And let us know where you're logging in from. I'm Natalie MacLean, editor of Canada's largest wine newsletter. If you click on the blue button for sign up, you can get my free wine picks every week. And could I just give a shout out? Could you click on the share button right underneath? That will tell your friends that we're here and they can join us. That will motivate me to keep going, to persevere through technical issues and everything else to bring these to you every week. I am, as I've said, a human gerbil, and I do react to positive reinforcement. Anyway, so here we go. So Fonseca, okay, so part of the family is Taylor Fladgate, Taylor Fladgate, Fonseca, and Croft. Excellent, all great port producers. Now, Bin 27 with chocolate fondant, and chocolate brownies. Yes, please. Okay. Right now, I'm tasting Taylor Fladgate First Estate Reserve. And I think this is to commemorate the first year, or the year that Taylor Fladgate House bought vineyard property in the Douro Valley of Portugal. Very special place, by the way. I've been there. I've been to Taylor Fladgate. I think I've been to Fonseca. Yes, I should remember these things. But it's all steeply terraced on the hills, and that's just what you want for optimal conditions in growing grapes. You want those vines to suffer with no drain, with excellent drainage and not a lot of water. So here we go. So, and by the way, when I was saying it was to commemorate the first year that Taylor Fladgate bought property. I believe that was 1744. These go back generations and generations. And David, who's online with us tonight, is I think 6th or 7th generation to make wine in the family. I just love that aspect of it. So David says, Taylor's late bottled vintage port, LBV, with cherry infused dark chocolate. Yes, please. Tara, I don't know much about how port is made. Is the fermentation stopped with grape spirit, or is it another spirit? I'm going to let our 3 experts from Fonseca join in on that to answer Tara's question. So how is port made? And Jim has another great question. Do official port glasses make much of a difference in how port tastes? I will answer from my perspective in that I tend to use a white wine glass. Others use a smaller coupe glass. And I think it's personal preference, as to what gives you the most pleasure. Certainly not, the terrible glasses of thick glass, clouded glass, cut glass, all the rest of it. But beyond that, maybe our friends from Fonseca can also comment on, how much of a difference, what kind of glass they would recommend, what shape, that sort of thing. All right, George, correct, yay! They bought Quinta de... It's down there, in 1744. Wow, the history, eh? Taylor Fladgate, first estate with chocolate cake and fresh raspberries. David says he's the 6th generation of his family to make wine and very proud. And so you should be. Cheers to that. All right. Okay, so let me get back to the chocolates. This is so much fun. Okay, here's an interesting one from Chocolaterie Bernard Calibot. And here's what it looks like. I've got a little card that I think I can read here. Mango peppercorn. So it's dark chocolate, mango, and pink peppercorns. So much like those salted sea caramels, you're going to get the dichotomy or the hedonistic argument on the palate between the sweetness of the chocolate and then the heat and the salivatory kind of reaction from the pink peppercorns. So here we go. Oh, wow. That's got a kick. That's so good. Now what? Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, let's try that port. Oh, that's nice. That's part of their Valentine's Day pack, which is pretty super cool that you can taste all of these different things. Because look, I'm going to try that first one, a nutmeg orange. So this is the first one right here. Nutmeg orange. The combinations and the flavors are positively mind-boggling. Hey, Lynn from Calgary. Love the mango peppercorn with a full-bodied port and a peaty scotch. Lynn, you're a woman after my own heart. And Lynn is also with Bernard Calibot, Chocolaterie Bernard Calibot. Lise, Natalie is not spitting any of the chocolates. You do watch closely, Lise. Lise is in Sudbury. She's my gal. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so what I'm eating is nutmeg orange. Oh my lord. Oh, and the spiciness almost goes up your nose in a good way. I am going to try back to this white port. I don't know about that. And if I miss your comment or question, just post it again, because Facebook only shows me 5 at a time, and these things go by so quickly that sometimes I'm missing it, especially when I'm highly distracted like tonight with these chocolates and wines. So Cynthia says port glasses are a good size to use, but using a white wine glass will give you ample room in the glass to swirl and nose the port, which highlights the aromas. Excellent. I like the backup. Thank you. That's what I use. So this is a white wine glass. It's a Sauvignon Blanc glass if you want to be specific, but I like it for size. Let's see. Lou says Fonseca Waterloo Edition port is great. I haven't heard of that. Tell us more about what the Waterloo Edition is. Lynn, and I love your necklace too. All dressed up for Valentine's Day. Thank you, Lynn. Yes, I thought I'd get all fancy. I'm not usually this fancy. And look, I wear my heart on my sleeve or my shoulder. That's temporary. At least thought I had actually gone out and got a tattoo, but anyway. You have to get in the mindset, right? It's all part of getting in the mindset for Valentine's Day. All right. So, oh my goodness. Feeling fueled here. Okay, so let's go back now. Let's focus on some late bottled vintage. I think it was David who mentioned late bottled vintage. So they often taste somewhat like ports, but they're you can drink them, I think, almost immediately as to when they release them at the liquor store. They are vintage dated, but they're not port. Port is also vintage dated. Let me show you one of those that I keep saving and saving. I don't know. I've got to find an occasion, maybe Valentine's Day. So this is 1980. This is a vintage port. This is a late bottled vintage port, LBV. And so they share some similarities of style, but this is made for earlier drinking. And our Fonseca friends can tell us a little bit about how this is made as opposed to some of the other ports we're tasting tonight. So, yes, Lise, I will need to go for a run after this. I'll be running all night on the fuel the sugar high in fuel I'm on. Fonseca, the Waterloo edition, is a style of Bin 27, was especially bottled for a bicentennial year in 2015. How interesting. Why was it called Waterloo? I would like to know. Anything to do with Waterloo and the battle there? So this is Pocas, and I've posted a link to all of these wines as well as the chocolates from Chocolatterie Bernard Callebaut, Canadian company, locations across the country. So you can put your own little mix together, your own little hedonism party on Valentine's Day. Okay, so George says, Reserve Ruby Port. This year, as we commemorate the bicentenary of the House of Fonseca, we also celebrate the 200th anniversary of the final engagement of the Napoleonic Wars, the Battle of Waterloo. So cool. I love how all this history is wrapped up. This is truly, these ports are liquid history. Living history, liquid history. You know, many hands touch these ports to, you know, through the generations to make them, to bottle them. It's all, I love it. As I've said many times, you could almost do a liberal arts degree at university with wine as the organizing hub and the spokes going to literature, history, agriculture, commerce, religion, all that, you know. Wine's my organizing principle, and I'm sure it is for many of you who are joining us tonight. Speaking of that, if you're just joining us, we're here at the Sunday Sipper Club. Every Sunday we go live at 6 p.m. We had a few technical issues tonight, but we're carrying on, just as Napoleon would, I guess. And so if you're here, please click on share. That's that little button right underneath. Okay, here we go. So this is a late bottled vintage. Very nice. I'm getting black currant and cassis. Cynthia from Fonseca says, LBV, late bottled vintage, you always want to use the acronyms to be with the cool kids, is a style that is required to age a minimum of 4 years to a maximum of 6 years. Is it aged in wood, Cynthia? I believe so. And then bottled. A vintage port will be aged approximately 18 months in an oak barrel. Then it goes straight into the bottle and spends their entire life in bottle aging. And that's why I believe, but again, correct me if I'm wrong, a tawny port like this that spends 10, 20, or 30 years in oak barrels has that lovely tawny color that comes from the wood in part, whereas a vintage port or a late vintage or a late bottle vintage port doesn't have as much time on that oak and therefore has a darker hue and darker flavors and aromas. So think like black currant, cassis, black plum, black berry, and then for the tawny port, think caramel, tawny, toffee, toasted almonds, all that kind of good stuff. Baking spice even. Yum, yum, yum. All right, Lynn, all of the chocolates now. Yes, indeed. Thank you for posting that right here, Lynn. Enjoying, maybe purchased, online for delivery. Woohoo! Okay, that's great. So they will come to you. Found at retail stores across Canada. That's excellent. I must say, these chocolates are beautiful. Just beautiful. Costco carries them. Holy smokes. Excellent. Okay, and Sharon. Okay, so I wanted to do my liberal... So if I wanted to do my... I wanted to do my liberal arts degree all over again with wine in mind. Just how I described it, with different spokes, history. Right, never too late to do a PhD. I love the way you take your subject so seriously, Sharon. Liz, no, Costco doesn't carry our line. Okay. No. Okay, yeah, Costco, I guess. I thought somebody... Confusion. Costco does not carry these chocolates. I wouldn't expect it to. These are premium and deservedly so. Not that there's anything wrong with Costco. Okay, so here we have another late bottled vintage port by Graham's, 2011. So let's carry on, shall we, with the late bottled vintage theme. For those who've tried port, do you have a favorite? Do you like tawny, ruby, white, late bottled vintage, LBV, or vintage, or something else? Cojita, I guess. Do you have a favorite? And do you have a favorite chocolate? All right, let's see. Now, I must not leave all these chocolates here unexplored. I've got another, let's see if I can get this one. I'm going to hold it up to see if Lynn or Celine, Lynn Rennie or Celine, who are here, can tell me which one this is. I'll probably recognize it once I bite into it, but, oh my. Oh, I know what this is. I think it's the apricot lavender jelly, I believe. It reminds me of turn-down service at the expensive hotel when you get a little spritz of lavender and they leave a little chocolate on your pillow. It's the way I love to go to bed. Natasha, yes it is. Natasha is here from Chocolatry Bernard Callebaut. She's the maître chocolatier. She makes chocolates and she knows how to match. So guys, we've got a unique opportunity here. Please ask away all your port and chocolate questions. And now everything's going so quickly I can't keep up. Okay, so Natasha, do you have a favorite pairing for this apricot lavender jelly? Okay, try not to get too carried away. Now, Graham's late bottle vintage. You know, I wouldn't go with that. I would go with the tawny for that. A little lighter, maybe even the ruby. That was amazing chocolate. Wow, okay. So, Fonseca, all wood to age port is seasoned. And seasoned, I believe, and is reused for many years and does not pass oak flavor to our ports, as does a table wine. The wood confirms a gradual oxidation to mature ports. Now that's a really important point. I didn't realize that. So when we say seasoned, I believe, the wood slats that make up a barrel are sometimes left out in open air for the natural conditions and weather of where the barrels are made, or sometimes by the winery, so that they soften. They don't taste like, or they don't have that hardwood character. But what David is saying, they're reused for many years. So they're not imparting a lot of flavor. All they're doing is letting some breathing going on, some oxygen pass in and out of those barrels to soften and mellow the port. Natasha says the apricot lavender jelly is nice with a rosé. That's an interesting twist. And then I would say, Natasha, building on that, I would then go with a ruby port if we're trying to put it with a port. Jim says, Taylor Flaggate, 10-year-old tawny port for me. Yes. Very old barrels. Yes. Yes, David. Okay. So let's pull out another one, shall we? You know, I want to go back to this one. I think I did tasted this one in the first video, but I want to go back to it. Bitter orange leaf. I think it's bitter orange. Dark chocolate. And there's orange flavor or orange liqueur in this. It is the bomb, I must say. I want to go back to this. If there's any orange lovers out there, orange and chocolate is such a classic dessert flavor combination. But which port? Natural orange oil, Natasha says. Thank you, Natasha. Okay, so let's try it with the late bottle vintage. You should see this desk here. It is just like a hurricane of hedonism. A hurricane of hedonism. There's a hashtag. Okay. That works. Yes, that does. Wow. So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, let's try Dalva, another late bottle vintage. I was just pulling everything I could off the liquor store shelf, purchasing what was available to me. to get you a variety of ports. It's by no means exhaustive, but just trying to do a lot of things. Okay, so Celine says, how long can you keep a bottle of port open and still for it to be good to drink? Excellent question, Celine. We never have that problem at our house because we drink everything. No, just kidding. Port actually does last a long time. And as you know, we're talking about a dessert, well, yeah, dessert wine for the most part. Could be an aperitif just on its own. But a little goes a long way, so the typical pour is about 2 ounces, especially since we're talking about higher alcohol. So alcohol is a preservative. Sweet sugar is a preservative. These will help this wine last longer. And I have found that especially the tawny ports I open last a couple of weeks. Now that's subjective as to how fresh or how much you want your wine to taste exactly like it tasted when you first opened it. So it's how, you know, everything declines with time and oxidation, including us. We're all oxidating as we do this. But port really holds its own for a while. Now, there may be specific ports that will decline more quickly than other types of ports. And Lisa, I'm glad you are inspired to try port. Excellent. And I'm glad you like the hashtag hurricane of hedonism, okay? But maybe our Fonseca friends can tell us, how long does port last while open? Now I know there's a variety of factors. First, how well is the port made? Better made wines last longer. Second, the nature of the wine. So in this case, port, higher alcohol, higher sugar, etc. Those are preservative, natural preservatives. Third, do you keep it in the fridge or not? Cold retards or slows down oxidation and aging. Fourth, did you spray it? You can get this liquid spray, nitrogen spray, I think, that removes the layer of oxygen and replaces it with a gentle blanket of nitrogen or nitrous oxide, something like that, that slows down aging, because it's really the oxygen that makes that baby age. So anybody can add to that, please. Malcolm, I'm just going to call you Malcolm, not analogize. I can't say it. I have a rule of thumb. For tawny ports, they will last opened for 1 month for every 10 years of aging, i.e. 20 years, 2 months. I like that. That's a great rule of thumb. Cynthia says the wood-aged ports can last 4 to 5 weeks once open. Tawnies can have some chill on it. Yeah. And there's another point. I've read a lot of advice that says most, if not all, ports should be served chilled, but and the chilling certainly makes them taste more refreshing, lowers the perception of alcohol, but I really like my ports at room temperature, and I'm just wondering how others feel. Am I doing it wrong? I mean, you know, just drinking at room temperature, is the alcohol hitting me too much? Because the warmer a wine is, you know, the more you will perceive the alcohol, which is why in the summer we don't drink those big honkin' red wines at 15% after just leaving them on the picnic table in the sun for 2 hours. So, any thoughts on that? All right. David with Fonseca says, try a 20-year-old tawny. That's been aged in wood for 20 years and will stay fresher for longer open than a bottle of a younger, fruitier style port. So I would think the ruby or the white ports wouldn't last as long as the tawnies. Sharon says, is that spray you described to slow down aging available for humans? Yes, for humans, yes. It should be in the LCBO in most liquor stores or wine accessory stores or cookware stores. I think it's called liquid preserve or preserve spray or something. I'll have the bottle with me at another Facebook Live tasting, but I'll post a link after this. But it's just, you just give it a few squirts, it's magic, and it almost preserves it really, really well. Nitrous oxide is laughing gas. Well, sure, and that works too, Jim. I really don't know what I'm saying. George says chill tawnies, yes. And David says tawny ports are great when served between 8 and 12 degrees Celsius. So chilled. Okay, to each his own hedonism. All right, now what else have I got for you? I want to throw this in because Celine at Chocolaterie Bernard Calibot whose chocolates we are tasting tonight. They are so good. And I have posted a link to a blog post that has all of the, most of the chocolates and the wines that we're tasting tonight. She was talking about pairing Lillet, or Lillet, if you want to be all Anglo about it, with one of these chocolates. And Celine, you're going to have to remind me which one you were pairing with the Lillet. And this is an aperitif wine. So it has 17% alcohol. It has a wine base. This is Lillet Rouge. It also comes as Lillet Blanc, so red and white. It does say to chill it. I did do that at the beginning of the evening, but it's losing its chill, as James Bond would say. This bottle is losing its chill. You have to wonder what that man was talking about. Anyway, so Celine, which chocolate here, my dear, would go with this? I'm gonna leave it to you for a minute here, and then I'm just gonna pull one. Oh, sweet cherry. Oh, that's got bitter orange at the back. I would go with that. Dark chocolate leaf again. But Celine's saying white Lillet with rosemary fusion, not the red Lillet. I don't know that one. Okay, it is available in the LCBO. I didn't pull a white Lillet. I guess I've got this one on for Valentine's Day or something. But it's got sort of strawberries up front and the bitter orange clementine at the back. So quite lovely. I'd still prefer port personally with all these chocolates, but there's something for everyone here. Speaking of that, I am going to dive now into just a few cream liqueurs for those who have asked about this. I just thought I'd pull Bailey's since it's a well-known brand. They've come out with some beautiful bottles. This is their almond. And which chocolate are we going to put with this one? Again, please do keep asking the port questions. I'm just trying to mix it up and give you some suggestions here. Do you know what I think? I think this is the Canadian truffle, which has cream and something else. And I'm thinking truffle cream, buttercream. By the way, the chocolates and truffles from Chocolaterie Bernard Callebaut use organic butter, organic cream, natural ingredients. I mean, I was reading the ingredient list and it was making me salivate. So anyway, and it's all natural and organic. Oh, apparently I'm eating the maple whiskey ganache. Oh, let's try it with the almond Baileys. Oh my goodness. That's like throwing satin cushions on velvet bedspreads and diving in and never coming up again. Oh my goodness, wow. That's pretty much like tasting clouds. Very fluffy clouds. Lee says, excuse me, Cabot Trail maple cream would be delicious. Oh, yes. Okay. I do have, speaking of that, Lee's, I have Sortilège maple cream from Quebec, which has Canadian whiskey. Let me get another glass here. Canadian whiskey. I'm running out of room on this table. And maple cream, if you can imagine. There are just so many possibilities. But let's give this a shot. Who's giving me an emoji? Oh, nice. So sort of Bailey-ish. Very nice. Wow. Oh, that's got that whiskey heat at the back of the throat. In a good way. Malcolm's getting cute, asking if ganache pairs with Grenache. It does, if you say it does, Malcolm. And one other thing, speaking of those sea salt caramels, Bailey's has a salted caramel liqueur too. I tasted this earlier, and suffice to say, it's liquid to die for. So, lots of wines here. But let's get back to port and the chocolate. So Lynn is saying the chocolate is sustainable, made with Rainforest Alliance certified cocoa and cocoa butter. It's fairly traded, certified sustainable to support farming communities in West Africa. That's really cool. That is really cool. I love to hear things like that. And the sustainability, the rainforest certification, the organic ingredients, and so on. That really does matter. So let's try a few more and go back to the Fonseca ports, because we have a number of Fonseca people online with us tonight. Who has more questions about port? We're heading into our final 10 minutes. So again, we are live here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we are going to be talking about some wine courses, I believe, from WSET, but I will finalize that this week and let you know. Please click on the share button right down there. Back to here. Now, let me know, guys, which one this is. I think, is that pistachio? Let me just give it a try. Drambuie with chocolate, sure. Jim? Oh, wow. So, that is pistachio. Dark chocolate and pistachio. You can see the little green tinge here. I think a Fonseca Bin 27 would be great with that. Let's just try it. Oh my goodness. Slim pistachio. Lovely. And Cynthia says, Fonseca makes a ruby style port called Terra Prima, which is organic. Both the grapes and grape fortifying spirit are organic. Excellent. And Cynthia, is that available across the country or certain provinces, that sort of thing? Fonseca, we've been practicing sustainable viticulture for many years. Your chocolates and our ports are a good combination. Excellent. We're all about combinations for Valentine's Day. You know what I admire about a lot of both these chocolates and wines tonight? They're not shouting this stuff in your face for marketing purposes. You know, it's actually quite discreet, and you won't even find it on front packaging or front labels about all of this stuff. But it's happening because there's, I do think, a care and a concern for the land, because everything we eat and drink comes from the land and the people who farm it, who make these products. And so it's really heartening on Valentine's Day to hear that these things, these sustainable practices are being put forward. Lynn, we love Fonseca. I think we've just match made. It's like the Tinder version of wine and chocolate. Fonseca and Chocolatry Bernard Calibo have finally found each other. I'm so glad. I hope it all works out for the two of you. Cynthia, it's in BC and Alberta. We'll check on Ontario. Okay. So we had the pistachio. Anybody else have any questions? You know, I just want to start defaulting to my favorite. I tried this earlier this afternoon, and the combination is just mind-blowing. But I'm going to try it again, and then I'm going to try to think of which port here would go best, but I'd love your input. Anybody? Honey anise. Let's give it a try. Oh my goodness. Oh, milk chocolate, star anise, and honey. Oh, let me go now. Okay. Okay. I think a late bottled vintage, if I'm trying to find a port, which isn't difficult. That'll work. All right. So, for the folks with Fonseca and Chocolatry Bernard Calibo, are there any wine and chocolate combinations you would advise us to avoid, other than the obvious of, you know, a wimpy dry or red or white wine and chocolate? But is there anything that maybe wouldn't work with a port, or conversely, a chocolate or whatever? Is any rules of thumb there, or is it kind of open season for pleasure? Fonseca saying an old tawny or cojito with that chocolate. Okay. Yeah, I do keep coming back to those tawnies. I do love that caramel sort of layering and so on. So, my friends, I think that might just wrap it up for now, but I've had so much fun. Let's see. Oh, Natasha's saying mainly making sure the chocolate is not way too much sweeter than the drink. You're right. Absolutely, Natasha. So that the wine doesn't taste bitter by comparison. It gives the taste buds a shock. It certainly does. I am still going to jump in here and comment after this session. I tried to get organized this week. I have posted a link to the wines and the chocolates that we tasted. But keep asking your questions, keep posting, and I'll get in here either tonight or tomorrow and just try to hit reply if you have more questions. But I'm sure our friends from Fonseca and from Chocolaterie Bernard Calibot will also answer your questions. So Sharon, I want to buy a vintage port for your anniversary. How long does it normally take before I'd see it in the store? I'm going to let Fonseca answer that. Jim, this was an outstanding... Oh, thank you, Jim. I'm glad you really enjoyed this. I did too. And I am going to have so much fun tonight. I wish you all could be here, but oh well, I'll just have to drink and eat it myself. Anyway, this is so good. Look, you all keep going. I just want to let this run and not click over, because this is just terrific. But we do need to eat other food at a certain point tonight. I'm going to be up all night. Anyway, so I hope to see you here next Sunday on the Sunday Sipper Club. Please, before you check out, could you please click on the share button? As I said, I'm a human gerbil who reacts to positive reinforcement. And I'll be back here next week with your encouragement by clicking on the share button. That's it. Okay, guys, happy Valentine's Day. My special thanks to the folks from Fonseca who joined us tonight. Cynthia, George, and David. And to Chocolaterie Bernard Calibot. To Lynn, to Natasha and Celine for joining us tonight. The link with all of the chocolates and wines is further below. I'll repost it at the top and try to pin it. Thank you guys. All right. Everybody's having so much fun. Oh, don't want to leave. But anyway, here we go. I hope to see you next week. You take care.